A brief history of Alma, Part 1. In the time before time, some say there wasn't even time. For there was no space. There was simply the ancient beings. Those known now as the Caretakers. I'll have a spelling somewhere at some point. These beings floated, or drifted, or just simply existed in the vast expanse of non-existence before anything. And for a countless amount of time, debatable on whether there even was time before, there was this first spark of light. Now this light wasn't really anything, a dot in the vast void of nothing. But it was enough to garner the attention of the ancient things, the Caretakers. Of course it was enough because there was nothing else. There was nothing else to see or hear except for this mote of light. And as the Caretakers gathered round, they saw each other for the first time, basking in the light of this mote. And so began the aeon of thought, as these creatures thought amongst each other, thought about each other, thought to each other. Eventually, the thought arose, why there's so little? Why it is only them and this mote of light? And so, they decided that there should be more. And so, with a unified thought, this is the only time that the Caretakers would really ever work together. And in that moment, the entirety of the universe was created. Big Bang, essentially. And as all the material and energy flew out through the universe, or expanded into itself, however you want to see it, as it all expanded out, that great power that created it all in the first place began to settle. Things began to settle. And so the gods were born. As the gods came into being, they began to explore this chaos around them. And they further, at least some of them, furthered the calming of the universe. They pushed and pulled, formed the stars and the planets around them. They formed the galaxies. And in their work, they eventually found each other. Some of them got along, some of them did not. And during this time, in the birth of the universe, there were the three major god wars. The first three god wars. After these wars settled, the universe became much more calm, as the remaining gods had an uneasy peace between each other. And during these godly wars, much more of their energy, their power, and magic spread through the universe, just as it did in the time when the Caretakers decided to create everything. These energies, chaos, magic, then created mortal life. So from these energies spawned the primordial soups across the universe. That is when we come to Om, where life began to evolve, and eventually to become what we know as the various races, species of Om today. But of the Caretakers, most of them left. 3 of them stayed. The 3 that stayed are known as the Watchers, the Caretakers. 3 who left are known as the ones with pride for the creation. There are 3 who left who are known as the ones who hate the result, the creation. They hate what came from their decision. And there are the 3 who are curious to see what else they could make. They wanted more. They are known as the Creators. The curious ones. The 3 with pride created what many mortals would know as the heavens, the paradise after death. The 3 who hate created what mortals would know as hell, the abyss, opposite of paradise. And the 3 who create, one created the Fey realm. They had stayed long enough in the mortal universe to see life begin to take form. And they were very curious on this life. So, they created the Fey realm so that they could endlessly experiment and create their own life forms. They could create all kinds of weird and interesting things, whatever they wanted, to play with life and its limits. And so the Fey came to be. I'll have another video on the Fey at a later date. Another of the creators went on to create a realm where he could play with the physics of everything. Could play with how things came together, how things interacted. The laws of physics had no meaning in this place. For some reason, spirits of the dead made their way to this realm. So it is known as the Spirit Realm, the Underworld, whatever else you want to call it. It is the first stop on the trip after death. The 3rd of the creators watched their brethren create everything else, the various realms. And so they sought to bind with bridges and tunnels, pathways, gateways. So they created what is known as the Astral Realm. Without this realm, you would not be able to get to any of the other realms, where simply it would be no path to take. And they endlessly explore the astral realm, plucking things from the other realms to populate it with, to combine and to create new things. And to watch their brethren to see what else they would do. The three that remained, the Caretakers, they basically fight for who would rule the universe we exist in. These ancient things, generally speaking, are not worshipped by any mortal person, except by more deranged cults. You can think of these beings as very Lovecraftian in nature. They are uncaring. They are beyond our scope of comprehension. Many believe them to be the embodiments of the realms themselves. So while we exist here in our universe, we exist as in, around, and with the three Caretakers. If you go to one of the heavens, you are going to one of those three of the ancient ones. When you're in the Astral Realm, you are traveling through the ancient one that made the bridges, for they are the bridges. It is a fairly popular belief, at least. Whether it is true or not is yet to be found out. Haha. And so, that is all on the history of Part 1. Creation myth.